12 Years Maxx. The Incumbent Insanity. This video is about 7 minutes long. Your attentive participation is greatly appreciated. They say a definition of insanity is the repetition of the same actions or behaviors while expecting different results, highlighting a lack of change or adaptation despite consistent failure or disappointment. 12 Years Maxx is a movement designed to stop incumbent insanity. Here are some statistics that may seem out of whack with our desire for term limits. In the U.S. Senate, an incumbent candidate has an 86% chance of being re-elected in the last 20 years. 1976, 1978, and 1980 are the only election years that dipped below a 66% chance of re-election. In the House of Representatives, an incumbent candidate has a better chance of being re-elected. Every election cycle since 1964, the incumbent candidate had a better than 82% chance at being re-elected. Overall, a representative has a 94% chance of being re-elected. Why? That's a good question. These are in no particular order, and we have to start with one. Name recognition. Most voters will have heard of the incumbent candidate by the simple fact in the last 2 to 6 years, they've either been in the news in your area or made headline news nationally. Keeping their name in the public eye is key to being re-elected. Money. Money is a significant factor. They have a financial advantage over the challenger because political action committees and wealthy individuals have a vested interest to donate to the incumbent. This has an enormous implication for the challenger. A challenger will have to spend 10 times what an incumbent needs to spend in order to get their name recognized. Seniority and experience. During the campaign, it's very easy for an incumbent to point out the challenger's lack of experience and highlighting their own. They stress the importance of experience to navigate the massive bureaucracy the career politicians have created to simply justify their own existence. This assumes, of course, the incumbent is using their experience to serve their constituents as opposed to self-interest and those of their financial backers. Then there's gerrymandering. Gerrymandering, simply put, is drawing district boundaries that favor one party over another. Most of you probably have never heard of franking privilege before. This is a means by which a Congress member can send mail for free to their constituents during their tenure. They cannot, however, use this within 90 days of an election or for overt campaign literature. It's used in the run-up to the election to tout their own accolades, even if they haven't been effective. Then there's congressional allowances. Every member of Congress is afforded an allowance to establish constituent services in their districts. This is a necessary service. However, it's also used to placate the constituents even when the backroom negotiations are going another direction. As you can see, there are a lot of advantages an incumbent candidate has over a challenger. Our collective desire for term limits. You listening to this video is evidence of the desire for term limits. They were first proposed in 1789. However, this was defeated in the same year. In 1943, Congress even had a sidebar conversation for their own term limits during the presidential term limit discussion. We all know where that went. In 1990, a movement for term limits took hold. 17 states enacted term limits. For the last 34 years, term limit movements have been in a state of stagnation. Trying to get Congress to regulate themselves isn't going to happen. Some argue that the push for constitutional term limits are based on the assumption that voters, like you, are incapable of deciding who they want to represent them in Congress. The state of insanity. This brings us to the incumbent insanity. The repetition of the same actions or behaviors while expecting different results, highlighting a lack of change or adaptation despite consistent failure or disappointment. 12 Years Maxx is here to bring light to this insanity. There's an old saying, when you bring something to the forefront of your mind, it takes a hold as a way of operating that guides your decisions. Shining the light on this insanity of incumbency is shining the light on you. That's right, you, the voter, with not in my backyard opposition. The position that it's not my congressman that needs to be retired, it's yours. Congress is ours, yours, mine, and theirs. 12 Years Maxx is us. Making the tough decision. Creating the citizens' term limit of 12 years max. Stop the insanity of voting for the same people over and over. Prove to yourself that you're capable of deciding who you want to represent you and for how long. Set the limit, 12 years max. Now that you know the incumbent insanity is you take action. Vote 12 years max. We made a video of how you can tell who's served over 12 years. Take the money out of the incumbent. Spread it around to the challengers also. You are the backbone of 12 years max. Stop the insanity. 12 years max. Thank you.
Be sure to hit the subscribe button to support 12 Years Maxx and be informed when new videos are available. Also, watch Whose Fault Is It? And if you haven't already, watch Stop Congress Now. We're all in this together. Thank you.